I'm Sophie, aka mscupcakes. Capcom provided me with an early copy of Street Fighter 6 so I could look at the various different modes, mechanics, and all the different aspects of the game. Although I've been playing Street Fighter for, at this point, most of my life, I'm gearing this review towards both newcomers and veteran fighting game players alike. So I think there's a little bit of something for everyone in here. But before I start, I just want to genuinely really thank everyone for the huge support of my YouTube channel over the last month. I would not have imagined in my wildest dreams that I would almost be at 500,000 total views on my videos right now. I'm about to do that really annoying YouTuber thing where I tell everyone that 99% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so you should definitely hit that subscribe button. For real though, I'm streaming Street Fighter 6 practically non-stop from launch, so if you'd like to stop by and play some matches, or would like to learn more about the game, or how to play Chun-Li, or if you want to give me your Chun-Li combos, you can find me at twitch.tv/mscupcakes. I also have an absolutely lovely Discord community where we chat about all kinds of games, art, movies, cosplay, whatever. But if you're watching this video, you'll probably be most interested in our Street Fighter chats, so if you're looking to learn how to play the game, or just looking for other people to fight, you're more than welcome to join. I hope you enjoy it. Street Fighter 6 is the latest installment in the franchise, which promises to redefine the fighting game genre. Now, the classic 1v1 versus mode returns, featuring fan favorites along with new fighters to choose from. The inclusion of new control schemes like modern and dynamic make performing flashy combos more accessible, while also retaining the classic control option for those who want more precise control over their inputs. The new drive system means that matches are more fast-paced with a focus on offense. You have drive parries, drive rush, drive reversal, and drive impact, which I will go into more detail during this review. The classic arcade mode returns, so each character has their own story to progress through as they travel the globe, beating up other fighters, and sometimes giant trucks too. Of course, you still have a bunch of practice modes still. You have your normal training mode where you can go in, practice your combos. There are tutorials and character guides for each character and combo trials that will teach you new combos. But perhaps the most interesting addition is the World Tour mode, a globe-trotting campaign which features Metro City's 3D open world where you can explore and pick fights on the streets, buy new clothes for your character, and play a plethora of mini-games and more. World Tour also features RPG elements, so you can level up your character, choose your skills, and learn your favorite moves from legendary masters like Chun-Li, Ryu, and Ken, as well as new fighters like Lily. I'll be going into more detail about the different modes and systems of Street Fighter 6 in this review. There will be timestamps and chapters for each section on this video, so you can easily skip back and forth to the bits you're most curious about. Without further ado, let's get started.
And don't forget to sub and like!
You begin World Tour as Luke's student, training in his gym when you encounter Bosch. Unhappy with the pace of Luke's training and in his eagerness to progress quickly, Bosch becomes embroiled in the criminal underbelly of Metro City. Hoping to find him before the local gangs do, you embark on a world-spanning quest to track him down and discover along the way that more may be at stake than it seems. I don't know why I did that voice, but that was pretty cool, so we're going to keep that in. Throughout World Tour, you'll embark on a variety of missions, from beating up Mad Gear goons to infiltrating a construction site, or simply snapping some photos of legendary fighters like Edmund Honda? The E stands for Edmund? No, that can't be right. Oh, I guess his name really is Edmund. Anyway, the game doesn't take itself too seriously, which is good, because it means your character gets into silly situations like fighting a sentient fridge, and it doesn't feel out of place. Since this is a Street Fighter game, of course there is a tournament which your character enters. This is where you'll first hear the in-game commentary feature in action. In the context of the tournament, I think it works pretty well. It gives the player decent feedback on their actions. However, the delivery of the lines can feel a bit disjointed at times. It doesn't quite live up to a live hype commentary, but it's nice that it's in here, and you can use it in versus modes too if you want to.
Player 1 pushes the opponent into the corner. From up above, grabs him.
In terms of character customization, it's pretty extensive, allowing you to create a very accurate approximation of yourself, or an absolutely monstrous creation with elongated limbs that would leave Dalsim jealous. Your character's proportions does have a gameplay impact though, so choose wisely. If you play the Street Fighter 6 demo, you can just import your character straight into the full game. And if you want to make any tweaks, you can. For me, it was just 2 button presses and boom, I was done. Now, if you decide you don't like the look of your character at any point, you can change your appearance by visiting a specialist shop and paying 1,000 zenny, which is the in-game currency, and 1,000 isn't that much. You'll get that from beating up people, don't worry. While exploring Metro City and the rest of the world, you'll find clothes shops which stock an initially small selection of clothes, but it does expand as you progress through the game. Also, the different regions have their own unique clothing options. For example, if you go to Italy, you can buy a cool gladiator helmet. You can also change the color of your clothes using dyes, which can be dropped by characters you fight in World Tour. There's usually a set of special conditions, and depending on if you perform a specific type of move, or knock down a character a certain amount of times, or defeat someone using a specific master's stance, you'll get various things. Unlike the usual 2D stages that you're used to in Street Fighter, getting around a World Tour requires navigating a 3D space. Now, this is no problem if you're playing on a controller. You got 2 sticks, one for the camera, one for moving around. However, a lot of fighting game players, myself included, use an arcade stick to play. The developers did think about this though. So without a second analog stick to control the camera, you can hold down heavy punch to enable you to move the camera around using the remaining face buttons. This does feel a bit clunky initially, and it does require some getting used to, but after a while, it becomes second nature and you get used to it. It's not as smooth as just using a controller or a keyboard and mouse, but it's nice that I don't have to constantly swap between a controller and my stick when I'm moving around and then entering a fight. After learning a special move from one of your masters, you can use it in the open world to start fights or destroy obstacles, or get over gaps in the case of Chun-Li's spinning bird kick. I like this. It adds more depth to the skills you've acquired during your journey. It gives them practical uses, and it ties the battles and the 3D open world stuff together in a nice way. Now, Metro City is pretty large, so in order to get around quicker, you can visit bus stops and add them to your map for fast travel. They won't all be available straight away though, so some of the bus stops are unlocked via submissions, usually by talking to this guy wearing a yellow bus t-shirt. He'll ask you to clear out some goons or track down something so he can complete his installation, and then boom, fast travel unlocked. But Metro City isn't the only location. It is the main open world hub area, but during World Tour, you can go on a world tour to a lot of different countries. However, a lot of these are smaller areas featuring only a master fighter, a merchant, and some NPCs to fight. The exception to this rule is the fictional country of Nishal? How do you say it? Yeah, what he said. It's another large open world area to explore with submissions, shops, plenty of street fights. Now the control schemes, what are they? Which one should I pick? Well, I'll give you a bit of a breakdown here to help you decide. So Capcom describes modern as great for newcomers and veterans alike, while dynamic is ideal for a party environment or to try with people brand new to fighting games. Yeah, let's examine these a little bit more closely, shall we? Classic controls. They require full motion input in order to perform a special move. So, an example you might already be familiar with. Ryu's Hadouken is a quarter circle forward and punch. So you press down, down forward, and forward on your D-pad or stick. In modern controls, however, you can just press the special button. Specials using the modern input also do a slightly less damage than their classic counterpart. So if getting consistent fireballs has been the bane of your Street Fighter existence, then you have a good alternative here. But there are some caveats to using the modern controls. Classic controls have 6 attack buttons: light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick. But in modern, you simply have light, medium, and heavy attack buttons. And they contextually either punch or kick. So that does mean you have a more limited moveset and less fine control over your combos. But maybe that's a worthy trade-off for you, because you can use classic and modern controls online and in ranked modes as well. So there is an attempted balance here. Dynamic, on the other end, as Capcom themselves describe, it's ideal for that party environment. You could hand the controller to someone who's never played a fighting game in their life, and they will mash the same button over and over again. Their character will do some sweet combos. So no longer will they feel like, oh, I can't play fighting games. I can't remember all of these inputs and combos. But if you're hoping to use dynamic online, you're out of luck. Modern and Classic are the only way to go, but it's nice that this option exists for local play, especially if you would just want to goof around with your friends and have a good time. Now in Fighting Ground, that's where you'll find all of the classic modes that you're used to. The stories in arcade mode give an extra piece of flavor and background to the characters that you interact with in World Tour. You can select from either 5 or 12 stages to play, from the easiest or hardest difficulty. So if you really want a challenge, crank that up to 12, hardest, boom. Team Battle allows you to pick a team of fighters to go against your opponent's team. So once your first character has lost a match, you take control of your next character until the whole team is wiped out. The winning character stays on and has their health refilled for the next match. So it's not a tag team mode, there's no assists, there's no way to swap in your characters on the fly during the match. But I quite like this, it's super fun. I can see this one being a hit at parties. You can set the format of these team battles to single elimination, double elimination, or if you don't like the idea of the winning character staying on, you can select the teams mode, which just designates a specific order that both of your characters will fight in. This is a super fun game mode. I can see this being a hit at parties. You can just pass your controller over once you're knocked out to your friend. They take over. You have 2 teams playing. I'd love to see a side tournament for this. I'm unsure if this is available on the Battle Hub, since it wasn't available during the open beta, but we'll just have to wait and find out. Extreme Battle. Excuse me. Extreme Battle is a party-style mode that takes the standard versus mode and flips it on its head with a bunch of special rules and gimmicks. Whether it's simply knock down your opponent 5 times, or a rotating set of requirements and special rules that show up, like no jumping, no meter, or your punches do extra damage, and you can't use any of your special moves. You can also add in some fun gimmicks, like bulls will charge through the stage after a set amount of time, or giant pillars of electricity will shock you if you take too long. It's silly, goofy. I like it. This will be fun. This will be fun with friends and family. The 6 glowy green bars under your HP is the drive gauge. This is used to perform drive parries, drive rush, which is a dash cancel out of a move, drive reversals, drive impact, and overdrive moves, which is this game's equivalent of EX moves from previous Street Fighter games. Performing any of these moves will consume a part of your drive gauge. Blocking also reduces the gauge via chip damage. Once it's empty, you enter a burnout state, which means you can no longer perform any drive moves, and it means that you take chip damage directly onto your health bar instead. So you can get KO'd while blocking a super. This is a pretty dangerous position to be in because it allows your opponent to push their advantage and put more pressure in on you. Drive Impact is a large flashy armored attack which can open up your opponents to a large punish on hit, but also pushes them back on block. This is really useful in the corner where you can get a wall splat on your unexpecting opponent, which lets you juggle them into the air. Even more devastating though is that if your opponent is in a burnout state and they get hit by your drive impact into a wall, they will get completely stunned for a short amount of time. So you can get in that super optimal combo that you've been labbing in for the past 2 weeks and really show off. Now, how do you counter a drive impact though? Well, you have a few options. You can simply neutral jump and then get a nice punish in after they whiff. You can parry the drive impact, or you can just react to your opponent's flashy activation with your own drive impact, and as a result, yours will absorb the first hit of theirs, and then you'll retaliate and lay the smackdown on them. So the existence of this move really tests your reaction speed. You'll see people throwing these out a lot during the early days of this game, so be prepared to hit back with your own. Third Strike is my favorite Street Fighter game, so I was pretty excited to see parries returning as a mechanic. However, these will take a little bit of getting used to. Drive parries can be held down in order to stay in a parry stance that will absorb multiple hits. Holding this parry stance will continuously drain your drive gauge though. But if you do parry an attack, it will recharge a portion of your drive gauge. So there's an important balance here. Parries aren't a perfect defense though. You can be grabbed out of a parry and you can accidentally place yourself into a burnout state if you're not keeping an eye on your drive consumption. Now for the perfectionists out there, you can also perform a perfect parry. If you activate your parry with perfect timing, the game will slow down briefly and you'll be given a chance to interrupt your opponent and get that punish in. However, be careful when perfect parrying a jump in. A lot of the time, your enemy will still have landed safely on the ground by the time your perfect parry animation finishes, and you'll end up whiffing your attack, leaving yourself open, and getting absolutely demolished. The amount of times this happened to me in the open beta is ridiculous. Drive Rush allows you to cancel certain normal moves with a dash at the cost of 3 bars of drive. It lets you close the distance and create longer combos that you wouldn't be able to perform otherwise. You can also drive rush out of a drive parry for 1 bar instead. You recognize these with bright neon green swooshing effects when this happens. It's reminiscent of FADCs from Street Fighter 4, except they work with cancelling special moves. This only works on normal moves, so keep that in mind if you got excited and be like, oh, I can FADC again. Not quite. Drive reversal is similar to V reversal from Street Fighter 5. While blocking, you can expend some of your drive gauge to push your opponent away and give yourself some breathing room. Overall, I quite like the drive system. It has a lot of parts, which definitely will take a while to get the hang of. But adds that nice layer of complexity to matches, and the slow-mo that happens when 2 drive impacts clash is pretty exhilarating, but also could be pretty maddening when you thought you caught someone off guard and slowdown occurs and you're like, oh no, I'm about to get wrecked. Training mode is where you can hone your skills and practice your combos, right? And to make the most of this, there's multiple on-screen stats that you can enable to help you out here. You got damage numbers, pretty standard for fighting games that let you lab the most optimal combos and verify exactly how much damage and what amount of damage scaling occurs. You got your input history, you can verify which buttons you pressed recently, and this is especially handy if you've been trying so hard to get that one special move out and you can't figure out what's going on, then you look over to the side of the screen and you're like, oh damn, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. There's also an on-screen button inputs overlay, so you can see pretty decent visualization of moving the stick and what buttons you're pressing. Probably the most useful are the frame data related overlays. So this large bar in the middle of the screen shows you your move's active frames, and it can help you determine what's safe, what's unsafe, and really gives you a decent visualization as well. Instead of just thinking, oh, this is +3, or this is minus blah, blah, blah. In your head, now you have that visualization of, oh, that goes into the red. Oh, that's green. Oh, that's blue. You know, I like this a lot more. As someone who's pumped over 1,000 hours in Street Fighter 5, I was never too big into analyzing frame data for moves. I much preferred the feel of the game, just kind of knowing like, yes, boom, now I can do it. And I feel like this is a great way to mix those two styles together. But wait, there's more. There are preset training settings that you can activate for different scenarios that you want to practice. So you've got your combo practice, which is pretty standard, anti-air practice, offensive pressure, throw escape, whiff punish, drive impact defense. There's a bunch of stuff in here that you don't even have to think about. It will set up the scenario exactly how you need it to focus on those specific things. This is really great. You don't have to mess around in menus to get it just the way you like it. And especially good for new players who want to try these situations before going into a match. The combo trials are a series of increasingly difficult challenges that teach you the combos of your character. If you're having trouble pulling off a specific combo, you can watch the CPU do the combo for you. And that way you can get the hang of the timing. You can see, oh, I've been trying to cancel this move too late or too early, blah, 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 blah. Something you would expect, but it's still nice to see, is that they do include combos based around new mechanics like drive rush. So if you're having trouble getting to grasps with drive rush or coming up with your own drive rush combos, this is a great place to get one, and then you can build off of that. I played through Chun-Li's trials, so I'm planning on releasing a video detailing my approach to combo trials and how to complete them. So keep an eye out for that once the game launches. The Battle Hub is the online area where your World Tour avatar can interact with other players, whether it's by sitting down at an arcade cabinet to challenge someone to a versus match, or maybe you're just sitting there spamming shoryukens in the hub trying to get on top of hard to reach places, or maybe you want to take your avatar and show off your custom style that you've worked on against other players in an avatar battle. Unfortunately, this wasn't available during the open beta period, but this is going to be one of the first things I try when the game launches. Now, if you're not a fan of running around in a 3D lobby like this, looking for matches, you can just queue for casual and ranked matches via the menu anyway, which was my initial preference. But honestly, running around in this 3D world, interacting with people, instead of just saying GG's after your match, you can wave to someone after your match, or you could just dunk on them, spinning bird kick into their face, really make them feel that defeat. It's pretty fun, and the most important aspect here is the netcode. The online play in Street Fighter 6 feels super smooth. It is a massive leap from Street Fighter 5. I played matches of 170 ping against people halfway across the world, and they felt pretty damn good. Out of the 10 hours or so I spent playing online in the open beta, I maybe had one match, which felt a bit dodgy, which is pretty good going. This is going to be great for the longevity of this game. And you can play the extreme battle mode. So if you get bored of playing just straight up 1v1 versus matches, you can spice it up a little bit. You can also buy clothes for your avatar here. So you can show off your fashion fighter instead. There are also clubs, so if you're a streamer like me, you can create a club for your community to join. Expect a cupcake club day one, by the way, so you should definitely join. Or if you just have a group of friends or people who play in a similar time zone or same character, you can create a club for yourself, create some t-shirts for everyone's avatars, run around being a menace to everyone else who stands in your way. There's a million more things I want to talk about, but I don't think I can fit them all into one video. If you hadn't guessed already, yeah, I really like this game. World Tour mode is super fun. It can be a bit slow at times, but it really does open up. The only minor issue that I had overall with my experience is I'm playing on PC, and I have a pretty beefy PC. I initially had some performance hiccups while playing World Tour, which weren't happening in the other modes. After tinkering around with my settings a bit though, I managed to get it pretty stable. And there is a performance mode in the options, which can help out with that, although it does lock the battles of World Tour mode only to 30 FPS, which can feel a bit jarring. So only enable that if you really need that performance boost. I don't usually do review videos like this, so I'm not sure if I should rate this on a 10-point scale or a 5-star scale, or if I should just tell you, I really like this game. I'm going to be playing a lot of it, and I really feel like this has reinvigorated my passion in fighting games. I don't know if I can put a number on that. I hope you like this, and I'll see you around.
See you later, kids. And don't forget to sub and like.